जी स्टूडेंट है, अराउंड 225 है स्टूडेंट्स.
Okay.
Okay.
So today we will start, and the topic today we will discuss is histamine antagonists. I am Dr. Kashif from DIMC and from pharmacology department. As you people know that you are going through the respiratory module, and in the respiratory module, probably this is the last lecture, and the topic of this lecture is histamine antagonist, or the drugs that are used as histamine antagonists, or they are commonly known as antihistamine. Okay, histamine, first of all, we will start with the synthesis of the histamine. What is this chemical mediator and how it is synthesized into the body? Histamine is basically found out in different cells of the body, in CNS, in mast cell, in basophil cells. In all these cells, the basic mechanism of their synthesis is that they are produced from amino acid, which is known as histidine. This is, you can see the structure of the histidine. So this histidine, when it is decarboxylated, means a carbon dioxide is eliminated from this amino acid, it is converted into histamine. So this is the basic chemical reaction that happens in any of the cells where the synthesis of this histamine is going on, like mainly in the basophil cells and the mast cells, which are the main inflammatory cells. So first slide is the synthesis. Okay. Then before we start to the drugs of the antihistamine, you should know what are different types of histamine receptor you have. I told you before that we are discussing this topic under the scenario of respiratory module, and the respiratory disease that happens to the body is condition like asthma is one of the topic that so this topic basically belongs to the topic of asthma, because in the asthma it's an allergic condition, and this allergic condition can occur with the release of this histamine. So we will focus in this lecture not all the antihistamine, but specifically on H1 receptor, because H1 receptor are responsible for the release of inflammatory mediator that is responsible for the inflammatory condition like asthma. Okay, so H1 receptor, they are found in smooth muscle cells, or the smooth muscles, in the endothelium, in the CNS tissue. So they are the main target where these histamine receptors are found out. The histamine receptor in the smooth muscles behave differently. You can see I have written there down the type, the location where they are located, and finally the where what function they do. This is important to note down that the smooth muscles, when these histamine receptor are present in the smooth muscles of vessels, the stimulation of this histamine receptor causes vasodilation. Okay, you can see the function vasodilation, whereas the same receptors of the smooth muscle, when they are found in bronchioles, they call bronchoconstriction. So the behavior is different, means that they are present on blood vessels, where when they are stimulated cause vasodilation, whereas when they work on bronchioles, they call bronchoconstriction. Also, these H1 receptor also cause pain and itching, any allergic reaction that is normally happens to the skin, allergic rhinitis, common cold, motion sickness, sleep regulation. So they are mainly the function, but we will focus again on to the topic of the respiratory condition. And in the respiratory condition, the main organ that is involved is lung, and the main part is the bronchiole. So remember that stimulation of histamine in the smooth muscles of bronchiole cause bronchoconstriction. So obviously, when you will give drugs to the patient, you will give those drugs that basically reverse the action of this bronchoconstriction, because in asthma we have the constriction and you have to relieve this constriction. Okay, the first is H1 receptor. Second type of histamine is, although they do not a main part of our topic, but I'm just discussing so that you can know what are the different type of histamine receptors we have. Like H2 receptor, they are present in parietal cells of the stomach, and they are related with the gastric acid secretion. This topic you would have discussed in the peptic ulcer. So H2 receptor is related with the gastric acid secretion. H3 receptors are mainly present in the CNS, and these receptor basically block the release of different neurotransmitters. So when his H3 receptors are stimulated, they block the release of acetylcholine, norepinephrine, serotonin especially. And the final type of histamine receptor is H4 receptor, and they are mainly involved in the inflammatory condition. You see, in asthma, two types of chemical reaction are going. One is bronchoconstriction. This is because of the H1 receptor and bronchoconstriction process. And the second part in the asthma is basically the inflammation that is produced. And this inflammation is mediated through H4 receptor. Histamine is also there, but H4 receptors are the receptor that basically causes the inflammation. And they are present in the bone marrow, in the thymus, or in the mast cell. Mast cell and basophils are the main cells where these inflammatory mediators are produced, and they play a role into the inflammation. So I just repeat, we have four types of histamine receptor. H1, they are the mainly related with this bronchoconstriction. Then we have H2, that is related with the gastric function. H3 is mainly in the nervous system, and H4 is basically the inflammatory cells, mast cells and the basophils. Okay, generally wherever these histamine receptor are present, either they are present on in brain or anywhere, the release mechanism is always the same. The release of histamine from the cells, mostly from the mast cells, it actually mediated by one of the antibodies, which is known as immunoglobulin E. IgE antibody is the antibody. When released into the body, it sensitizes the mast cells, and then when an allergen binds to these cells, there is exposure of the histamine. You see, the histamine is released abundantly in the body. The reaction could be very severe. Like you can see, the allergic reaction of histamine are very severe. Anaphylactic sort of reaction are there. So this reaction is very massive. You have enormous amount of the histamine release, and this bulk quantity of histamine is actually produced with the role of this immunoglobulin E, IgE, when there is present, which is basically part of allergic reaction. So whenever you have allergy, the IgE is released. This sensitizes the mast cells, and then finally you have the release of the histamine. So histamine release is involved with the antibody like immunoglobulin E or IgE. So this is important, that the release of this histamine require this antibody. This is again same shown into the diagram, that whenever an allergen comes in our body, it basically binds to the certain cells like the immune cells, B cells or plasma cells. Then it produces the antibody, especially the IgE antibody, and this IgE antibody, when joined with this allergen, it releases the histamine release. So this is the cycle, the same thing that I discussed, that the allergic reaction is basically mediated through the help of these IgE antibodies. Okay, we come again. Now we will focus on H1 receptor. We say that that H1 receptors are the main receptor that is involved in the allergic condition like asthma. So we will discuss the different function of the release of histamine in relation with the H1 receptor. The activation of H1 receptor basically stimulates the non-vascular smooth cells. Usually, whenever the H1 receptor is involved, it is the main target is not the vessels, but it mainly involves the non-vascular smooth muscle, like the bronchioles. The bronchioles are the main target of this H1 of the histamine on H1 receptor. Also, there is some role on the blood vessel, and I told you that H1 receptor, whenever they work on blood vessel, they causes the vasodilation. Okay, so one part is causing constriction in the bronchioles, whereas the same receptor in the vessels, it is causing the vasodilation. And also, whenever there is vasodilation, there is increased permeability. Why it is important? because in the inflammation you need to dilate the blood vessel. Whenever there is dilation of the blood vessel, there will be leakage of the molecules to the inflammatory site. So this is a part of the inflammation, that vessels are dilated, there is increased permeability, and there is a leakage of these molecules. So they causes the vasodilation, increased permeability, and this H1 receptor also cause the wakefulness. You would have a very common experience that whenever you take these antihistamines or the drugs for common cold or anything like this, you find out that there is a sleepy condition of the person. Whenever he takes this anti-allergic, he is always a feeling of sleep. It is the reason that H1 receptors in the body, they causes the wakefulness. They keep the people alert, but once they are blocked, their action is reversed and they causes the sleepy condition. So this slide shows that the action of H1 receptor on blood vessel is that they vasodilate, they increase permeability, and this is important in the inflammatory conditions. Although the topic we are discussing is histamine antagonists, but remember that histamine agonists are also present as a drug, or they are also present available in the market. Histamine, betazole, and impromedine are the molecules, and they are the histamine agonists. Their clinical use is very rare, but they can be used for the allergy testing. Okay, so what we do in these sort of testing, that we give this agonist to the patient, and we want to see the sensitivity of the patient with this histamine. So if a person who has the problem of asthmatic or any other respiratory problem, the reaction is the reaction of the patient is that they are show hyperactivity of the bronchioles. So bronchoconstriction is very quick. So once the bronchoconstriction is very quick, means this is a test for the allergy that we give. So histamine agonists also, remember, although we will mainly focus on antagonists in the coming slides, but just you should know that they are also agonists of the histamine, like betazole or impromedine, and they are used for the diagnostic purpose and for the allergy testing or the hyperactivity of the bronchioles. Whenever we want to see the hyperactivity, we can use this agonist. Now we come to the main part of the topic, that is H1 receptor antagonist. Simply we say that these H1 receptor antagonists are of two types: first generation agents or first generation H1 antagonists, and there is second generation antagonist. So when you classify the drugs, you have simply two classification: the first generation and there is the second generation. One line is written on the above that they are competitive inhibitors. And you know what do you mean by competitive? A competitive inhibitor is a one whose action can be reversed by increasing the concentration of agonist. So they are mechanism wise, they are competitive agonist and competitive antagonist. So if we increase the histamine amount, the function can be reversed. Classification, I told you that they are first generation and there is a second generation. Okay, what is the difference between first generation and second generation? Usually you would have seen in the antibiotics in different types that you have generations like first, second, third, and these generations are usually we have a concept that the first generation is less active, the second is more active, third is more active. So this sort of classification is very common. Here is also some sort of same condition, that H1 or first generation, the difference between the two generation is their duration of action. You see, the first generation, the duration of action is 30 minutes, whereas for the second generation also the duration of onset is the same, 30 minutes and 30 minutes, but the difference is in the duration. First generation act only for 3 to 8 hours, whereas the second generation work on 3 to 24. So long duration of action. If you want a long action of the drugs or duration, you will use second generation, and when you need a quick action for the short time, then you give the first generation. Also, the difference between first generation and second generation is that the first generation is more sedative, or it causes more sleep, whereas the second generation, they are nowadays very commonly used in the market. There are two reasons for their good sale or for their use. First, they have a long duration of action, and the second thing is that they have the less sedative effect. So the drugs commonly nowadays we use second generation. We prefer second generation because they have a long duration of action, as well as they have the low sleeping effects, which are undesirable to many of the people. They do not want to have this sleepy condition. So this is the difference, first generation and the second generation. Okay, first we go through what are the different pharmacological action of the histamine onto the body, and this is especially related with the asthma. We say that H1 antagonist basically relax the contraction of bronchioles. We again told you that whenever histamine is released, it causes the bronchoconstriction. So when we give the H1 receptor antagonist, it basically relaxes the smooth muscles of the bronchioles, and it causes the bronchodilation. Second thing what it does, H1 receptor antagonist, that it blocks the vasodilation of the blood vessel. You see, vasodilation is important player for the inflammation. So if you stop this vasodilation, or you stop the dilation of the vessel, the inflammatory mediator will not leak out into the cells where there is inflammation. So you causes the constriction of the blood vessel, and you dilate the bronchioles. So they are the two main function of the H1 antagonist. Also, histamine receptor basically decrease the permeability, and another function of this H1 receptor is that they block the mucus secretion. You know that in the asthma there is mucoid secretion into the bronchiole that basically blocks the airway. So they also inhibit this mucus secretion. So three role: bronchodilation, uh, vasoconstrictions, okay, decreased permeability, and there is blockage of this mucus secretion. So this is the reason why we use H1 receptor in respiratory condition like asthmatic, in asthma or COPD. Okay, H1 receptor also, they are muscarinic antagonist receptor. Okay, you know that the receptors can be classified, or cholinergic receptor can be classified nicotinic or muscarinic. They are basically muscarinic type of receptor. The other function of H1 receptor is that they can also use as local anesthetics. This is their additional property. So they can be used in different functions. They can be used as anti-Parkinson's drug. They can be used as anti-emetic drugs. They can be used as anti-vertigo agents. So they are the additional function of this H1 receptor, because you use H1
Excuse me,
receptor.
sir.
Yes.
हाँ अच्छा, मैं कुछ स्टूडेंट ये कह रहे हैं कि थोड़ी सी वॉइस आपकी लो है, तो या तो ये हाँ माइक्रोफोन करीब कर लें, या फिर आप थोड़ा सा वॉइस अगर आप थोड़ा जोर से बोलें तो शायद बेहतर होगा.
अच्छा. Okay. So the different function of this H1 receptor is that along with this bronchodilation, we have also additional function like the local anesthetic action, and they also use as a local anesthetic. Is that better? अब ये बेहतर आ रही है आवाज आपको?
मैं देखता हूँ स्टूडेंट को फीडबैक देख लेता हूँ.
ओके. सो मैंने थोड़ा करीब कर लिया और थोड़ा लाउड भी बोल रहा हूँ. So they are the additional function of the local anesthetics. Okay, the H1 receptor, or if we talk about their pharmacological properties, we say that they are lipid soluble agents, so they can easily absorb from the GIT, and they are usually taken as orally. Once they goes into the CNS, they call CNS depression, because they decrease the wakefulness state, so causes this CNS depression. The metabolism wise, they are metabolized into the liver, and they also affect the cytochrome P450. So drug interaction is also important. When you are giving this H1 blocker, you also keep in mind the drug interaction. So these are the pharmacological properties. Then the main part is the clinical use. The clinical use, I again told you that they are the main drugs used for the allergic condition like allergic rhinitis, very commonly known as common cold. So what happens in the common cold? There is vasodilation of the nasal vessels are vasodilated. So this vasodilation of the nasal vessels, this is causes the leakage of this inflammatory molecules to come out. So this common cold is basically of the vasodilation of the nasal vessel. So this antihistamine H1 receptor basically causes the vasoconstriction of the nasal vessels, and this is how this common cold is treated. Again, conjunctivitis is the reddening of the eye or say inflammation of the eye. Again, there is a vasodilation phenomena. So you can also block this by using or by giving this antihistamine. Uh, Other condition of this is like dermatological condition like hives or urticaria. Angioedema is there, but in angioedema there is not much use of antihistamine, but it can be given. Pruritus is there, any insect bite or atopic dermatitis. Anaphylactic reaction, this is very important, that this anaphylactic or type 1 hypersensitivity reaction, which is very severe, this can be given by this can be controlled by giving antihistamine. You see, very well known drugs that is given in the anaphylaxis to control is basically belong to the antihistamine. So anaphylactic reaction can be stopped. Nausea and vomiting, I again told you, is an additional function that the in the CNS, the center of the nausea, it also involves the H1 receptor, because the center where this vomiting is controlled, it has different receptors: serotonin receptor, histamine receptor. So histamine is also there. So H1 receptor can also block, or they can also control this vomiting condition. Sedation is always a part of the antihistamine. I told you that this is the basically the not desired effect. Whenever we take this antihistamine, we have a problem of sedation because they decreases the wakefulness property. So the clinical use are very important, and along with all this, asthma, never forget the asthma, because asthma, they are used in asthma to for the bronchodilation, to stop the inflammation. So this is other than the asthmatic condition where you can use this antihistamines. Okay, always whenever we talk about the drugs, we talk about the general mechanism of the drugs, but drugs names are always important. Okay, we always the student always bother about the drug name, but this is an extremely important part. You cannot skip this part. You have to remember the names of the drugs because they are very important. So we have first, we are talking about the first generation, the names of the first generation, then we will talk about the second generation. The basic difference I have told you, I have already explained you that the first generation have a short duration of action and they have a more sedating effects, whereas second generation have a long duration of action and they have a less sedating effect. So this is the basic difference. The other thing is that individually you should remember the name of the drugs and their individual uses. So first generation are further classified into 5 classes. We have, this is the chemical basically classification. They are classified according to their chemical structures. The first generation classified as alkylamines, ethanolamines, ethylene diamines, piperazines, tricyclines. So 5 classes are there, and this is more related with their chemical part or their chemistry parts. So they are basically divided into 5 groups. We will discuss one by one the names of the otherwise function are same, but you should know which drug belongs to which group of this first generation. Like in alkylamines, we have 2 known drug: chlorpheniramine, very common drug, and clinically it is known as CPM, very common drug. Whenever all the GPs, whenever you go to a GP or general physician, this drug is always mandatory, CPM. So chlorpheniramine, this is given as to treat the common cold, and the similar sort of compound brompheniramine. So they are the 2 classes that belongs to the alkylamines. sedation wise, we can say that they produce less sedation as compared to the other group of the first generation, because we have certain groups that produce more sedation. So sedation wise, you can say that they are not very sedative, they causes this slight sedation. The second group we have after alkylamine is ethanolamines, and this ethanolamine contains the diphenhydramine, doxylamine, and diamine hydrinate. They are the drugs that have very marked sedation. They are nowadays not commonly used because their sedation power is very high, and even this the drug like doxylamine is used in a market as a sleeping aid. Okay, so the side effects is used as a therapy, as a therapy. People know that whenever they will take this anti-allergic, they would have a good sleep. So most of the time you would have seen in our home setup that we have certain syrups that can be given to children, and they have a very good sleep, which is not ideally good because it decreases the brain activity. But the mothers who want to keep their child sleep, they give this the anti-allergic or cough syrups that basically have this compound, and they produce a very deep sleep, and the problem is solved. So second type of this first generation ethanolamine, remember the three drugs, and in these three drugs doxylamine is very marked sedation. It causes a very severe sedation, and it can be used as a sleeping aid. The third class of the first generation is ethylene diamines. Again, you have to remember the name, you have to remember the name of the drugs. There is no choice. And in this third type of first generation, we have pyrilamine and antazoline. This is again drugs that have a moderate sedation, and they also causes the GIT upset. These drugs also causes the GIT upset. So they are in the middle of this from the sedation point of view. Remember the two names. Then we have the piperazine. They are very important drugs. The two drugs that we use is meclizine, cyclizine. You would also remember the name of these drugs. They are used also in other condition, especially in a condition like vertigo, or a clinical condition when there is a vestibular disturbance to the patient or motion sickness. So these drugs, additionally with this anti-allergy condition, they also use to control these agents also have the anti-emetic property as well as anti-vertigo property. So motion sickness or Meniere's disease, the problem of the air, this can also be treated by this piperazine. So piperazine includes meclizine and cyclizine, and they also have cause moderate sedation and the adverse GIT effect. But important part is that along with this H1 action, they also use as antiemetic and antivertigo. They are also used in the chemotherapeutic patient when they have a severe problem of vomiting. So we use this meclizine and cyclizine. They are very important drugs, and they have a very good action. They stop the immediate vomiting in the chemotherapeutic patient, or even in the pregnancies, and the women have this morning sickness. So they are used other than the main target. They can use as emetic and antivertigo. Then the fifth type, or the last type of the first generation, we have drug like phenothiazines. And in the phenothiazine, the well-known drug is promethazine. Promethazine, it belongs to the phenothiazine, and it also causes a very marked sedation. And again, promethazine is also used as anti-emetic action, and this drug also have a alpha blocker activity. So what comes in your mind whenever there is alpha blocker activity? Whenever a drug having an alpha blocker activity, it might produce the orthostatic hypotension. So whenever you are giving this promethazine, remember in your mind that if you give this drug, the patient may complain of low blood pressure when he stands up, and this is known as orthostatic hypotension. So this drug can be given as an antiemetic, promethazine, as well as it may causes the orthostatic hypotension. So 5 classes, I just repeat just to remember the names so that you can easily understand. 5 groups of first generation alkylamines, ethanolamines, ethylene diamines, piperazines, tricyclic. Again, in alkylamines we have chlorpheniramine, brompheniramine. Then we have ethanolamine, very severe sedation they cause, 3 drugs. Then we have ethylene diamines, we have 2 drugs. Maclean cyclin, always remember they belong to piperazine and they have additional function of antiemetic and antivertigo. And finally we have phenothiazine, which we have a promethazine. So 5 classes. Then we have the second generation. In the second generation, and these are the drugs nowadays in market, and they are very commonly used, and they are preferred on first generation. And the reason is the same, that first reason is that they have a long duration of action, and the second thing is that their CNS depression is very low, so they do not cause this sedation. In the second generation, first group we have piperidines, so it is different from piperazine. Okay, piperidine is different, piperazine is different. In piperazine was in the first generation. This is piperidine, and the well-known drug is loratadine. That is come into the market with the name of Soften. You know that loratadine, a very common drug. Soften is very commonly used, and similar compound of this loratadine is disloratadine. This is the same molecule, but it is basically is the active metabolite of loratadine. So loratadine is basically metabolized into the liver, and this metabolite is 15-fold high activity or high affinity for H1 receptor. So nowadays loratadine can be given, as well as its metabolite is also available to enhance the activity. The first is piperidine. We have the loratadine, disloratadine. Then we have a drug known as fexofenadine. This is also very commonly drug in the market, comes with the name of Fexit, Fexit D. This is very commonly taken by the people and has a very good effects, very low sedating effects, and a long duration of action. And this is different from the structure wise from the piperidine, and sedative activity is also very low, but it is dose dependent. All these drugs of the CNS, they have some potential of the dependency, but still we prefer in the patient of loratadine or fexofenadine because they are good drugs, because they have the low side effects. Then we have a drug like has all the second generation, and we discussed a different second generation. The clemistine, I was on that slide, the clemistine. I'll go a slide before, so that if there is any interruption, you can have a back slide. Let me just yes, this was the slide. Just repeat the second generation so that you can be easily coordinated. Second generation, we discuss the piperidines, in which we discuss the loratadine and disloratadine, the fexofenadine, and again, this is disconnect. Repair your screen. Hello. It is also used. It is not ineffective. It is ineffective for the motion sickness and anti-emesis. That was probably the last slide. I almost completed the lectures. Some disturbance in the last slides, but almost we have completed the part. So I just summarized that in the topic today we discussed. Just remember that the 2 or 3 main key points. We are discussing antihistamine with the scenario of asthmatic condition, and in that condition we discuss mainly the H1 receptor blocker. And in the H1 receptor blocker, remember there are 2 generation, first generation and the second generation. first generation having a low duration of action and more sedative, whereas second generation have a long duration of action and they are less sedative. So this is the key points that we discussed today. Anything you want to discuss, or you can ask, or you can for the query. ये कनेक्ट हो सकते हैं मुझसे या कोई क्वेश्चन?
हाँ, मैंने इनको वो कह दिया कि असल में एक साथ सब लोग तो उनका बोलना थोड़ा सा वो नॉइजी हो जाता है। मैंने
अच्छा,
इनको ऑप्शन दिया है कि वो हाँ, अगर ये चैट पे भी करना चाहें तो चैट पे कर सकते हैं, वैसे रेज हैंड कर देंगे तो माइक अलाउ कर देंगे हम। आप भी कर सकते हैं, मैं भी कर सकता हूँ स्टूडेंट को।
अच्छा, रेज हैंड कहाँ से?
ये मैनेज पार्टिसिपेंट्स पे क्लिक करना होगा आपको, जहाँ पे शेयर स्क्रीन का ऑप्शन था ना उसके बराबर में मैनेज पार्टिसिपेंट। अगर किसी को कोई क्वेश्चन है तो वो रेज हैंड कर दे तो मैं अलाउ कर देता हूँ।
अच्छा अच्छा, अदरवाइज रहेगा ना, तो मैं अभी इस पे करूँ क्या मैं, या अभी कोई आएगा तो फिर
अगर आप अगर आप चैट पे लेना चाहें तो चैट पे भी कर सकते हैं।
चैट
देखते हैं क्या
अभी कहाँ पे?
चैट पे आप रेज शेयर स्क्रीन के बराबर में ही एक ऑप्शन है चैट का, और आप कंट्रोल एच प्रेस कर दें। अच्छा, एक ये क्वेश्चन है जैन।
कंट्रोल एच,
जैन।
Hello sir, can we use antihistamine as inhalers?
No, antihistamine are not available as an inhaler. Usually for the inhaler purpose we use this beta 2 agonists. They are mainly used as an oral agent and just to stop this inflammatory. So they do not provide the quick relief of this asthma, but they slowly stop this inflammatory process. So for inhaler we have the beta 2 agonists. They are commonly present into the market.
जी उसामा, you can ask question.
Sir, is there any specific side effect of long-term use of antihistamine?
So obviously, always whenever you take a drug for a long term, it has the problem with these antihistamine and the drugs that affects on CNS mainly, because they can easily cross the CNS. So the dependency is the problem. So they basically causes the dependency. So this is why we prefer the second generation nowadays, which has a low CNS effect. So second generation can be used for the long term. They have a less dependency effect. Otherwise, the side effects are not there. You can use for the long term, but it's better to use the second generation rather than first generation.
Also chat पे क्वेश्चन है, कैन यू रिपीट सेकंड जनरेशन एजेंट्स और लास्ट 3 स्लाइड्स का भी रिव्यू स्टूडेंट का।
अच्छा, ये चैट पे मैं कैसे जाऊँ? ये जो न्यू
चैट
शेयर के साथ है?
हाँ, न्यू शेयर के साथ है चैट।
ये तो न्यू शेयर के साथ है, ये आ रहा है पॉज स्टेट मैनेज
पार्टिसिपेंट्स चैट का। अच्छा नहीं आ रहा तो आप एक काम करें, इसी पे रहते हुए कंट्रोल और एच एक साथ दबा दें। कंट्रोल एच सामने आ रही है चैट?
नहीं,
चैट नजर आई अभी? कंट्रोल एच दबाया आपने?
कंट्रोल एच तो दबा दिया मैंने।
एच ओके, वाला
एच दबा रहा हूँ।
सॉरी, ऑल्टर एच, कंट्रोल नहीं, सॉरी ऑल्टर के साथ एच। ऑल्टर के साथ एच अभी शो हुआ? शो हो रहा है चैट? नहीं। अच्छा, ये मोंटिलोकोज इज विच टाइप ऑफ ड्रग? अच्छा, ये चैट पे है? हाँ, चैट पे है, लेकिन तो ये प्राइवेटली मुझे भेज दे। अच्छा, तो मैं अगर उनको बोलूंगा तो आवाज जाएगी? जी आवाज आ रही है उनको। Okay, so I was told to have a question. The Montelukast are basically the drugs that basically leukotrienes inhibitor. They are also part of the asthma treatment, because leukotrienes are the chemical mediators that causes the bronchoconstriction. So leukotrienes are different inflammatory molecules. They can be blocked by this Montelukast or drug like Zafirlukast. They are basically the blockers of these leukotrienes.
They also control the inflammation, but H1 receptor are different. They stop inflammation through histamine receptor. So both are causing inflammation, but montelukast belong to the leukotriene group, which is a different group. But they have also the role in the asthma as well.
अच्छा, क्वेश्चन जो है ना वो एवरीवन पे भेजा करें वो। हाँ, जैसे ये क्वेश्चन भेजा है कि आर साइड इफेक्ट्स ऑफ फर्स्ट एंड सेकंड जनरेशन आर द सेम?
नो, अच्छा, इसमें मुझे क्या करना पड़ेगा सबके लिए? कोई ऑप्शन दबाना
नहीं,
पड़ेगा?
वो एवरीवन आपके लिए नहीं, वो स्टूडेंट असल में वो डायरेक्टली वो मेरे पास भेज रहे हैं ना, वो शो सबको नहीं होगा, जैसे आपको शो नहीं होगा वो।
अच्छा,
अभी आपके पास चैट नजर आ रही है आपको?
नहीं, ये मुझे आई नहीं यार, मैं ऑल्टर एच दबा रहा हूँ कहीं।
अच्छा, आप एक काम करें, आप ये प्रेजेंटेशन स्टॉप करें।
अच्छा,
ठीक है, अब आप ऑल्टर और एच दबाएं दोबारा, ऑल्टर के साथ एच।
ये जो आ रहा है स्क्रीन इज शेयरिंग, इसको ओके। हाँ, ये आप चैट आया,
ठीक है, अब नजर आ रही है। अब देख लें
हाँ,
इसमें, जैसे लास्ट आपको जो नजर आ रहा होगा,
सही।
ये भी कुछ ने आपको डायरेक्ट भेजा।
हाँ, okay. One of the question is that is montelukast is a leukotriene 5 inhibitor? Yes, montelukast is leukotriene inhibitor. Another question is that can we use loratadine in coughing? Loratadine is basically an antihistamine. It can be helpful somehow in the cough, but this is mainly a drug that basically suppress the inflammatory condition, but this can be used for the cough purpose as well. Again, we have a question that are there any side effects of long term? I've just given the answer that that long term every drug, if it is used for the prolonged time, it make a side effect, but second generation is more better because of their side effects, so you can use the second generation for the long term. Okay, another question, when to give leukotriene inhibitor and when to give histamine inhibitor. Both drugs can be used in the asthma, but histamine inhibitors can also use in other allergy condition, like leukotriene you will always use in the asthmatic condition, but histamine can be used in allergy condition like hives or any allergic reaction to the skin, itching. This can be used, but leukotriene is specifically with the asthmatic patient. Okay. Can salmeterol be used for coughing relief? Salmeterol is always a bronchodilator, so coughing is not because of bronchoconstriction. Coughing have a different mechanism, but it can help you in the ventilation, but not as such it will affect to the cough. Okay. Another question, do H1 receptor antagonists affect other histamine receptor as well? No, H1 is specific with the histamine. If you are using H2 receptor, then the mechanism will be different. Okay. Yes. Cetirizine is again an antihistamine, and this is commonly known as the drug like Zyrtec, and it is used for this allergic condition. Cetirizine, the market name of this cetirizine is Zyrtec. You can see this drug, and this is commonly used for the allergic condition or any common cold. You can use it. Okay. Okay, there's a question that can you repeat the second? Okay, the second generation, I just told you that first thing that you remember the names, but the basic difference between the first generation and second generation is that second generation are better drugs than the first generation because of their low side effects and their longer duration of action. The common names for these drugs are loratadine, which is known as Soften commonly, cetirizine is there. So they are the main drugs. So this is just I explained to you. Achha. Okay, ji. ठीक है, no more questions. I think मेरे ख्याल से chat में और नहीं आ रहे. Hello, Kamar sir.
I think there is no more questions are coming, so I can we can end the session now.
Okay, so we close the
Thank
session.
you so much.